Hello, my name is Mike Schramer, and in these videos, I'm describing to you the spiritual experiences and visitations from angels and other entities that I had. I never expected them. I never prayed for them. I was just going about my day doing what I normally do, and they would come. Um, Later, when I was in my 30s, I could feel sometimes a spiritual energy that would be, coming to me or in the room, so that I knew something was going to happen. But at first, it was really totally unexpected. Um, I've broken them up into parts. There's 9 of them in total. So some of them are so short that I've combined them. Otherwise, I've just made smaller segments of about 10 minutes or so they won't be too long to listen to. I hope you enjoy them. I have been writing a book about them that I've been working on for a number of years, and I'm about to finish it. I thought I'd put these out there now, and hopefully that'll prompt me to finish the book. Some people have said I shouldn't share these. These are private, and they were just for me. Others that I have told to at different times, some of the stories when I've felt prompted that they needed to hear them, or the time was right. That was a spiritual experience for both of us. And then they would tell me that, yeah, I'd like to read the book, so finish the book. So it's about time for me to get into the first story with you, and that follows this little segue, and I hope you enjoy it, and enjoy the other ones as well. Thank you. I've not recorded this before, but this is a series of about 7 or 8 visions that I had starting when I was a young man. Actually, I was a boy of about 10 or 11. Would have been 1960 or 1961. At the time, I was a student in a Catholic school in Southern California. And I remember the day like it was yesterday. I was sitting probably in the middle from front to back, the second row from the window. We had a long window that overlooked the playground. And there was a nun who was teaching us. It was spring, I remember that. And she was teaching us that week about Fatima and Bernadette and different children that had visions and appearances to them. And then how they had gone into seclusion, or had gone into a monastery, or had lived, secluded lives until after they had passed, and it would be reviewed as to whether they had really seen a vision or whether they should declare them a saint or not. So although I enjoyed the visions, it frightened me a bit that the children had been taken away from their parents and that kind of thing. About this time, as she was talking, something said, "Look over your right shoulder." So I looked over my right shoulder, and there was a man all dressed in white, beautiful white clothing, had bare feet, very good muscular build. He had his left arm extended down to me. As he was looking at me, he had beautiful blonde hair down to his shoulders and brilliantly blue eyes. He was clean shaven. He smiled at me in a marvelous way. He was kind looking and nice looking. And on his right arm, he held a long trumpet, must have been about 3 feet long, and it had no valves. And he was holding that. He was looking at me. And I wasn't thinking about the teacher or the other students around, whether they were able to see it or not. I thought it was as natural as day. I thought maybe he had something to say to me. He didn't speak to me in an audible voice. He seemed to be speaking to me mind to mind, and just relayed to me that he would, that I would remember this at some future time in my life. And but as I think about it, it still gives me just a chill to the feeling of warmth. I didn't want him to go away. He had come. I knew he came from heaven. And how could he fly through the walls as thick as we had? And and he didn't have wings. He was just a full-bodied man, a good muscular build, and he had a V-neck on his tunic. I could see his bare chest, into the V, what it was revealing. And his arms were long. They had bell sleeves, and his feet were bare, like I said. And he was just extended right above my desk, about, I don't know, just like up here where I'm pointing, maybe 3 feet away, 4 feet maybe away. And he was about over 6 feet tall. And I didn't want him to go away. Of course, I just kind of wanted to go with him. But he didn't have a message. And I have often thought, what would have happened if I had asked for him to come back or had prayed? As it happened, he was right. I wouldn't remember it for many years later. We were interrupted or distracted by the bell. The bell rang. And I looked outside and looked around, and when I looked up, he was gone. And as was my routine, I walked quietly to the front of the room by the door, walking as fast as I could without running, because we would get in line and then we would run out to the playground and touch home base and play kickball. And whoever touched base, the first 4, they were up first. So that's what I did. And maybe it was the stories that the nun had told me about the children who had been taken away from their parents then and placed in a convent and so on, that I didn't tell my mother, my father, not a sibling, not a teacher, not a priest, no one. In fact, I forgot about it. I forgot about it until, a good 9 or 10 years later. No, it was longer than that. It was about 20, 21 years later. So I did have some other visions and dreams that I'm going to just share them in part as one at a time kind of a thing. And then I am writing a book about it that I've been writing for the last 6 years. And I just thought, well, it's time to try to just put it out here right now and see if that helps me finish the book. So in the next one, I'll tell you more about what happened to me. I didn't really like school that much. I just kind of liked to play recess and look out the window, and my head was in the clouds. I really have to tell you, I just kind of a dreaming kid walking through life. And but I had some things happen, and those I'll talk about in the next segment with you shortly. Thank you. I just wanted to add that I mentioned that did I have this vision because it was suggested because of what I'd been hearing the last few weeks in the class? I don't think so. I think this was a scheduled thing. It felt like it. It felt like he did convey that to me, that he was sent, and that, to me at this particular time in my life, that much he did convey to me, and he was real. It wasn't a suggested thing, and then maybe I had an hallucination of some kind. I was a young, impressionable young person, but he was as real as anything that I can describe. His clothing, the white garment, was so luminescent. It wasn't glowing. It wasn't like white lightning around it or anything like that. There was nothing around his being. There was just this clear, material, clear substance material that was it emanated love, and it gave me a good feeling. But there was no, luminous white light around him. It wasn't in a cloud. He just appeared, and it felt so natural. The way he was looking at me felt so natural. His face was not white, not brilliant, nothing like that. It had a good tan, an outdoorsy look to it. His bones, I could see bones underneath the skin. There was no discoloration. They weren't all pale like you'd imagine somebody describing an angel or anything. It was the most alive person that I had ever seen. And since I hope I describe it better in the book, but I just want you to know that that's the best I can describe it, that there was no white lightning around him or anything like that. His skin wasn't off-white or pearlescent or anything like that. It was as normal as it could be. It was just very vibrant looking. I saw veins, I saw bones, and his smile was there. I mean, I could see the cheekbones, good solid face, and hands and he had some experience. He had lots of things he could have told me. I mean, I could feel that, and so I hope this helps you understand a little more. I did do a drawing and a painting by it that I sold at a folk art auction years ago down in Atlanta, Georgia. I think somebody owns it out there, but I may try to paint again since sometime future in my life I discover art, and that's what you see on most of our channel here right now. And I'm just happy to be opening up and sharing some of these experiences with you now. Thanks. I'll see you again.